Alright, so we've already talked about the geography of the Italian peninsula and how that's going to affect Rome's success, as well as Rome's brilliance in their government in the Roman Republic. Today we're going to talk about the Punic Wars, which you'll see a lot of similarities between Greece and Rome again when we look at the Punic Wars and versus the Peloponnesian, or the Punic Wars and the Persian Wars. Alright, first off, Punic Wars. All of Italy, so the entire Roman peninsula, is all conquered by Rome by 265 BCE. We talked about that 2 class periods ago. And Rome and Carthage are very much trade competitors. Right? Carthage is on the northern part of Africa. You remember that from your map. And so there was 3 separate wars, all called the Punic Wars, that happened over 118 years. Right? In the first Punic War, Rome takes Sicily and controls the western Mediterranean. Remember, Sicily is that first little island right off the boot of Italy. So it almost looks like Italy is kicking Sicily, like a soccer ball, and Italy is kicking it. So Rome takes that island, and that makes Carthage really, really, really upset, because they were definitely rivals in trade. And so Hannibal, who was this really great military leader, he attacks Rome because he's really mad that Rome took Sicily. But he knows that it would be too obvious if Carthage and Hannibal came up through the Mediterranean to do a sea attack on Rome. So instead they travel all the way up to the northern part of Italy and climb over the mountains, the whole Alps mountains, right? And he does this with elephants, and it's quite a sight. And I want you to think about why Hannibal would choose to bring elephants with him to attack Rome. And you could say maybe it was because the elephants are really big. Also, Romans had never seen an elephant before, so that's really going to freak them out. But Hannibal and his elephants and his master military schools, they devastate the entire peninsula of Italy. Right, so all of Italy goes to Carthage, goes to Hannibal, except for Rome. Hannibal and his elephants are unable to take the city of Rome. So then comes the third Punic War. Right, and now we have Scipio, who was a Roman, and he leads Rome to victory by attacking Carthage. So after Hannibal tries to come and take the entire Italian peninsula back, Rome says, "Oh no, you don't," and Scipio leads Rome to victory by attacking Carthage. And Hannibal was forced to leave Italy to fight at home. Alright, here's a picture of Hannibal and Scipio. Remember, the Greek art was much more idealistic, and you can tell that this is much more realistic. This is really probably what Hannibal and Scipio look like. Alright, here's a picture of the elephants that are attacking the Romans. Pretty intense. Alright, results of the Punic Wars. So Carthage is totally destroyed. They are eliminated as trade and military competitors. Their population is murdered or sold into slavery, and the earth is sown with salt. Now, what in the world does that mean, sown with salt? So after the Romans invade and take Carthage, not only is Hannibal very upset, not only are all the people sold into slavery, but the Romans also put salt into the earth, or salt into the ground. Now, why would they do that? What's going to happen to that ground if there's salt in it? Is that going to make it so that crops can grow better or worse? If you answered worse, ding, 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 you'd be correct. It's going to be nearly impossible for things to grow in Carthage for a while. And so now Rome controls the entire Mediterranean basin after these 3 wars. And that means that they have trade control, and they can expand their trade control, which means they have a lot more wealth for some Romans. Remember, only the top tier Romans were able to kind of share in that wealth. And now Roman government spreads and culture spreads far and wide. You have this whole Mediterranean basin that is all controlled by Rome. From Anatolia to Spain, plus Gaul and Great Britain. So really far north, really far west, and even a little bit far east. And we'll look at a map together. Now this is going to make the Roman Empire too big. Now what do you think is going to happen because it's so big? I want you to think about these guys. Persia. Alright? What happened in that empire because they were so big? Eventually, you start to lose touch right? You start to lose touch with the people who are in your empire, or kind of in all the land that you've conquered. So it's going to cause some problems for Rome, which we'll see next class. All right, so I want you to just take a look again. Here's what Rome controls before the Punic Wars. All right, just the Italian peninsula. All right, and here's Sicily right here. Remember, it looks like the boot's kicking it. And Carthage is like over here somewhere. All right, this is at the end of the First Punic War. So all of Rome Rome already had the whole peninsula, and they took Sicily right here. Now, after the Third Punic War, right, you can see Carthage totally taken. All of Spain, even up to what would be modern-day France. All this area comes after all of the Punic War. So look at how big that is. It's a pretty big difference. Alright, so Rome expands, Rome becomes really, really big. And next class we're going to talk about Julius Caesar. And by the time of Julius Caesar, Rome is going to continue to expand to be even bigger. Check this out. Huge. Alright, all the way now we have Britain. Alright, we have modern day France. We have even further east, all the way over here towards the Middle East. Alright, tons and tons and tons of new conquered land in the Empire of Rome. Well, at this time, the Republic of Rome. And next class, we're going to talk more about the Empire of Rome and Julius Caesar and how Rome ultimately falls and is no longer successful.